All right, so good morning. It's, what's today, Ben? Today's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, and as most of you know, the market's been struggling over the last week or so, which shouldn't be shocking to anybody. I've been trying to explain to people for the better part of the last year, Ben knows because he's had to listen to me, that this is coming. I didn't know when. I don't know that this is the big one, as Fred Sanford would say. But I think that certainly this is one that's got our attention, and I want to reiterate 3 or 4 things that I thought of yesterday while I was driving back from South Carolina, and the first of which is recency bias. This is something I've tried to warn everybody against, and no matter how many times I talk about it, it still creeps in. I get it, it's human nature, it's what I'm here for. So, recency bias is you believe whatever happened yesterday is gonna happen tomorrow. The truth of the matter is, we don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. But because the market was down yesterday does not mean the market's going to be down tomorrow. And because the market was up the day before doesn't mean the next day it's going to be up. But this is what we do in our human brains, is we attach ourselves or anchor to whatever occurred yesterday, or in this case, the last 10 years, right? First thing I want you to know is just because the market was down doesn't mean it's going to stay down. It might. We have some headwinds. We have a Fed that's raising rates, which is long overdue, I think, and somewhat organic and necessary. I'm not against this drop. I think a natural organic regression makes a lot of sense for this market rather than it being some artificial catalyst like a geopolitical event or whatever's going on in the Ukraine. So I do think that the markets have been high for a while. If you look at the fundamentals, those of us that care about those sort of things anymore, those of us that aren't watching crypto and meme stocks all day, actually still care about those things. And what we're seeing is fundamentals playing out. The NASDAQ is off. Most of the stocks in the NASDAQ, not all, are off about 40%, which nobody even noticed, right? So that retraction has been going on for a while, under the surface, if you will. So this is not something that just happened yesterday. It has been happening for a while. We're seeing some things that probably shouldn't have been priced where they were coming back to reality, which always happens. So what is going on right now in my mind is an organic retraction. I don't think we should be freaked out about it, and even if we were freaked out about it, it wouldn't do us any good, right? Second thing I want to talk about is you're going to be tempted to call, and that's fine, which it's review season anyway, but you're going to be tempted to call and say, well, what do we do? And this is what I've been trying to tell you for 2, 3, 4, 7, 10, 20 years for some of you 30 years, believe it or not, is that we've already done it. We've already done the planning. We've already prepared for this. Can we get out of the way? No. Can we time the market? No, 1,000 times no. But for those of you who are growing money, you're still in the collection or growth phase of your investing career. This is just a blip. Markets go up and down when you're growing money. When the returns come and how the returns come are not really relevant. For those of you taking income, I've spent the better part of the last 4 or 5 years, every opportunity I had, setting aside money for you to spend at a time like this. So for us to knee-jerk and do something now would be counterproductive in my mind, not to say I'm not willing to talk about it. The other thing I'd like to address is timelines. A lot of times clients, they'll say, well, I'm this age, I'm 60 or I'm 80 or I'm 75 and I don't have time to recover from a drop. Well, yes, you do. And if you're not around, if you die between now and the recovery, then it's inconsequential, right? You're not going to care about that because you won't be here. Now, I hope that you're all here still. But know that your investing career isn't up until you retire. Your investing career is your whole life. A lot of people say, well, I'm 65, I don't have time to get it back. Well, yeah, you do. The average bear market lasts about 14 and a half months according to our studies. We know from peak to trough to peak, it's about 14 and a half months, and we've talked about this before. So, batten down the hatches, put some supplies aside, and maybe this isn't the year we buy the yacht. But the truth of the matter is we will get through this one again. The last thing I'm going to warn you about, and one of you is going to do it anyway, is high water marks. What we tend to do as investors is we watch our statement, watch our statement, watch our statement, watch our statement, and then we see that high water mark where we were up really high, we were down here, right? We were down here, now we're up here, and suddenly we're here. What do we focus on, Vin? We focus on this part, right? Not this. We used to be here, now we're here, but we are also here, so let's talk about that. Let's not get all caught up in that. Markets grow in fits and starts. It's an imperfect machine. But at the end of the day, you still started here and you're still here, so let's not get too consumed by what's here. The last thing, and I think this is my third last thing, Vin. I just threw this together, by the way, because I caught Vin shooting another video and I'm headed out of town again. But the last thing I want to warn you against is when markets aren't doing well, the tendency is for some people to start looking at the portfolios more closely, right? And saying, well, we got ABC and XYZ and whatever, we have all these stocks, but this one's down, right, Vin? Let's point at that one that's got the red ink on it. And you say, well, that clearly is the culprit because that's the one that's got red ink. There's not going to be a portfolio ever built with dozens and dozens of securities in it that doesn't have something that's got red ink on it. And what is red today may be green tomorrow, so we can't, again, get caught up in this recency bias that I talked about earlier. You know, just a quick heads up, I caught Vin, we're shooting some vid. We want to just get out in front of this. I thought about this driving for 7 hours yesterday. What are my clients thinking? What are they worried about? What are their reactions going to be? After 35 years, I can kind of anticipate these sort of things. We've been here before. The world is not going to end, I don't think. But, and I'll leave you with this thought, and I've said this to many of you, if not all of you, over the last couple of years, is, you know, we're buying, on average, stocks that we've all heard of, right? Names that we know. These are just examples for the compliance people, but like a Microsoft or an Apple or an AT&T or a GM or a Ford or, yes, even a Tesla or Solar City or something that's a little sexier right now. We own a lot of these names. But what I would say to you is if you're fretting that this is the big one, you know, the world's going to come to end and this time it's different for the 10th time in my career, I want you to think about this. If Exxon, if AT&T, if Microsoft, if Apple, if Procter & Gamble, if Pfizer, if Medtronic, if all these major corporations, Vin, go out of business, and you're under the impression that you're going to have some portfolio that survives that, where we're not all fighting in the streets with rocks and sticks, you're kidding yourself. So we have to assume that, yes, all the stocks I just mentioned could go from here to here, but they're not going away. People still need to eat. People still need pharmaceuticals, especially right now. People still need to drive places and gasoline and whatever it is. Again, I want to urge calm and thoughtfulness here. I'm here, we're here, the team's here, and clearly poor Vin's here having to listen to me rant. But I urge you to call if you have questions. This is review season where we're trying to get to everybody and talk about the year ahead, make sure we have enough cash on hand. Nothing has changed for me. The process is still the process, and as long as we are disciplined and continuing down the same path that we've always continued down, I think we'll be fine. That's my lecture for today. See you later.